I thought you might want to speak to, or maybe we could talk a little bit about those guiding principles and Bert Ellinger's orders of love. He refers to them as the orders of love in a family.
Yes, lovely, Barbara. And exactly that. It's bringing a systemic lens to different dynamics. What Hellinger understood, as did those whose shoulders he stands on in family systems therapeutic models, was that there are certain guiding principles within a system, and that everything is a system. Like we have our own individual system, mind, body, spirit, for those that believe, a soul as well. And then we have, there's a system within a relationship, there's a system within a family. And a system is a bit like one of the children's mobiles mobiles, you'd say in Canada or the US, that hang over a child's crib. A system operates, a family system or an organization, and indeed the planet operates in the same way, that you can't move one of those objects in the mobile without impacting the rest. And I think the world now has been brought more and more into understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, given the COVID, that we don't exist in isolation, that we can't say, oh, that's something over there and it's nothing to do with us. We are interconnected. And when you talk about the systemic lens, Barbara, we're talking about not just where it sort of sets apart from some other therapeutic models where it talks about the mind, body, spirit system. Yes, the familial or biographical history of an individual. But family systemic concepts goes back to the influences up to 3 and 7 generations and how we are impacted by that. So when you talk about inherited patterns, Barbara, that children will often, take on, of course, we inherit the mindset. We inherit the internal stance as a consequence of that familial background, but also culturally of what's passed to us. And we know now of studies of, this has been anecdotal for many years, but we know now through epigenetics and DNA that in actual fact, unresolved trauma from past generations is passed on. The good news is, as well as unresolved trauma, strengths and resources are too. So we can be deeply grateful for extraordinary resources, resilience and creativity that has been passed to us from our ancestors. But unless, we wake up and, as you say, Barbara, broaden our lens, reassess the mindset that's been passed to us from previous generations, unless we review that, then we're bound to act out in the same way and pass on our unresolved. So I think actually we have a duty, an absolute duty. It behooves us to really reassess and do what we can in this generation to heal the past traumas that have been passed to us. We can only do what we can do. But the more we resolve the past within ourselves, the less likely we are to injure our partner with it and everyone we come into contact with. Unless we heal the past, we're both a danger to ourselves and to others, imploding or exploding, and or our children. I think we have a duty. I think there should be a covenant, actually. I think I'm going to sort of set up something, or rather a championing for, there's a compassion charter. I think there needs to be, a parenting charter that says, okay, you need, because so many people you would both have found say, I'd do anything for my children. They say that, but the actions don't match up. And bless them, and myself as well in the past, they don't know that in actual fact, though they've got good intentions, they're energetically passing on the unresolved trauma. So it's about awakening consciousness, bringing a meta lens to what works and what doesn't to serve love, Barbara. I think that answers your question.
It's so beautiful to serve love, and I think it is such a liberating lens.
Reminds me of the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's kind of unfortunate that it applies in this scenario too, where the incompetent don't know that they're incompetent, and that early on in our journey in anything, whether it's learning a skill or even in this case being in the role of a parent or a friend or in a relationship, where that confidence is super high at the beginning, until you realize once you get deep in that it's a very slow journey to mastery. Yeah, I definitely can see where you're coming from with that. And
Yes.
what we don't see, we don't know exists, or what we
Yes.
don't perceive, we don't know exists.
Yes, I love that conscious, unconscious, conscious confidence. Exactly. And very often, as I say, we don't know that we don't know. I didn't know that I didn't know. Worse still, though, we think we do.
Right.
I think that's the biggest trap. I thought I was
Yeah.
so clever. I thought I was like really, you know, this cosmic mother partner, really doing all of this good shebang. And when I look back, I think, oh my Lord, bless that younger me. Because seriously, oh my gosh, my first experience of step parenting. Yes, I've learned a great deal since then, but I agree. And but so I think there are some symptoms that tell us that, or can wake us up to not knowing, to bringing the unconscious to the conscious, Andrew.
Okay.
And in actual fact, the most beautiful thing about systemic constellations is the simplicity of the method is such that it actually, probably the primary purpose of it is to reveal the hidden or unconscious dynamics operating in a relationship system, a family system, or an organization that are hindering the flow of love. My very first experience was such a profound experience, and it was a real indication of I was operating from, not only did I not know, I didn't know, I thought I did. Because I actually, is it appropriate to talk about an example here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So my very first experience, I come from a large family. I'm the second eldest in a family of 9. So I was at a conference, you know, for breathwork, because that's the other thing that I do, somatic breathwork. And this woman, as I say, nearly 30 years, had come back from Poland and Germany, and she said, "Oh, I really found this beautiful new therapeutic approach, and I think it's very soulful and lovely. Would you like to experience it?" And so it was a large gathering, and being one of 9, I said, "What's involved?" "Well, you set up your family members." And I thought, "Oh, great, it's a conference, lots of people. I've got a large family. Yes, I'd love to do that." And I won't speak of the exact dynamic. It's very personal and very powerful influence in my life. But I thought that I would, so what a client does is bring an issue to the, much like therapy, bring an issue to the table that they'd like some insight or resolution around. So I brought a dynamic to the approach, and the facilitator, my colleague who'd come back from Poland and Germany, said, "Okay, so who's involved?" And I said, "Well, really my whole family." So she asked me to set up the members of my family, which I did, and then I sat down. Now, the particular dynamic that I was working on, I thought I was incredibly clear on, like I'd done a lot of work on it. I was really clear in the dynamics around it. I actually thought I was kind of like I use this, like the cosmic guru on it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm so sorted on that. That's one thing in my life that's really sorted. I just want to have a look at this other thing. When I set the dynamic up, I sat down and realized, oh my Lord, oh my God. Here I was, I thought I had this dynamic really clear in my mind, and I'd actually completely left out, completely not included them at all, the person that was most important in this dynamic to acknowledge. And I thought, my understanding was, I completely acknowledged this person's position. When I looked at what I'd set up, I didn't even have them in there. They were the only person I didn't have in there. So consciously, oh yes, I'm so in love and acknowledging of this person. Unconsciously, I don't even want you to exist. It was so profound. I can't even begin to tell you how profound it was. And part of the process then was for me to acknowledge this person that I'd excluded. And we'll talk about some of the basic orders that you referred to before, Barbara, and this is one of them, that we suffer, and everyone in the system suffers when we exclude someone that has a right to belong. This person had the most profound beyond words right to belong. And in my conscious mind, I totally did and had profound love for her. Unconsciously, don't want you to exist.
Wow. So it really revealed,
Sorry, Barbara, go on.
it revealed a blind spot for you.
It was a blind spot. That's exactly it. And I'm so mindful and so humbled ongoingly, Barbara, and you guys probably realize this too in your work, of just how ongoingly we discover these blind spots.